Yagya is a technology of sound. It employs the chemistry of sound, the scientific fact that through sound you can change anything into anything. Now, this is an age-old science, and it has been practiced in India for thousands and thousands of years. Why Maharishi and how Maharishi has made this suddenly fully powerful again, has restored the potency, is he has restored yoga to Yagya. What does that mean? Instead of just training the Vedic pundits as they traditionally have been for hundreds of years, and how to recite certain sounds vocally on a rather coarse level of audible speech, that's on the Vaikari level of speech, Maharishi has added to the training of the Vedic pundits a very powerful fundamental technology of yoga, transcending. The Transcendental Meditation, the TM City program, including yogic flying, ours, nice, rich, deep, long program, including group yogic flying. What does this do? It allows the mind, as we all well know, to traverse the whole range of speech, the entire range of thought from coarse to subtle to transcendent. There are different words for those levels of mind, different Vedic expressions for those different levels of speech. Vaikari, the grossest. Madhyama, abstract conceptual. Pashyanti, fine feeling level. And para, transcendental level of speech, the origin of speech. In a yogi, in a Vedic pundit, all those levels of mind are enlivened. All those levels of speech are enlivened. So when the enlightened speak, when they think, they speak, they think with tremendous power. The full range of mind is increasingly engaged as our experience with yoga, with transcending, is more and more stabilized. The Vedic pundits have been practicing long programs, including yogic flying, for many, many years. And when they speak, and you can even hear this, when they recite the Vedic mantras, when they recite specific sounds for specific effects, it's not on a coarse, tired, gross level of speech. Yes, the speech is engaged, you can hear the recitation, but the different subtler, more powerful levels of mind are also engaged. So the full range of the power of the mind, full range of human intelligence, even from its absolute level, is engaged in a performance of Maharishi Yagya. That's the critical difference. Years and years of training in Yagya and yoga. Maharishi has restored yoga to Yagya, has restored full power to Yagya. So what is a Yagya again? A Maharishi Yagya is the precise selection of the Vedic mantras, a precise selection of sounds from the Vedic literature. And it is the application of those specific sounds and recitation of those specific sounds to achieve a desired effect through what we call the chemistry of sound. What's different about a Maharishi Yagya, again, is not necessarily the prescription for the sounds. That is an ancient and inviolable tradition. It is the power with which those sounds are recited. And as we know, thought can be very feeble, or thought can be extremely powerful. When the scriptures say, with a mustard seed of faith you can move mountains, that is not meant to be a poetic thing. It is a direct expression of the reality of thought at the para and pashyanti level to really fulfill the desire of thought very, very quickly. And as meditators, we have experience of that increasing power of thought and increasing support of nature in life. So it's an incredible thing that Maharishi has done in reviving, you could say, restoring yoga to Yagya, reviving the power of Yagya. But this basically is how a Yagya works. It is how a Yagya has always worked. And it helps us to understand, I think, a little better the extraordinary power of Yagya that you were very familiar with in having shepherded that program and worked with thousands of people over years in Jyotish and Maharishi Yagya, in utilizing the Vedic technology of prevention to achieve tremendous things for the promotion of good fortune.
And this gives a foundation to understand how the Yagya program really works. I've got an experience to share from a friend of mine. He was in Chicago in a hospital, had severe colitis, was actually scheduled to have his colectomy in just a couple days when it was suggested to him to have a Maharishi Yagya performance. So they postponed the surgery. He had the Yagya performance done within a couple days it started. And on the day that the Yagya started in India, his internal bleeding stopped. And he was able to take food within another day. And a couple of days after that, he was actually discharged from the hospital. Not that his colitis was completely resolved, but that somehow that negative trend in time was turned around and became positive. So this really, I think what Maharishi's added to the Yagya program in these recent decades is the power to have here be there. And that's really, I think, the explanation is that the pundits work on a level that's so profound that they actually touch that level of life where here is there. And that is how they could be performing a Yagya in India and have a result that was experienced in a hospital bed in Chicago.
That's very interesting, and it's a point I didn't really make, that the power level of speech from where the Vedic pundits recite is not only vastly more powerful than tired, gross speech, but being at the level of para, being at the level of the unified field, being everywhere simultaneously, that is an unbounded level of experience, an unbounded level of reality, that will allow us to explain how the effects of the Yagya can be wherever they're desired to be, even from thousands of miles away. It's a very, very beautiful point.
And the Maharishi Vedic pundits are trained extensively from age 8 or 10 all the way up through their 20s and even beyond. Their training includes TM and TM City program, as you mentioned, which they practice collectively together. And they live and work in perfect vastu, in Maharishi Vedic architecture designed buildings and program halls. So they've got the best of all worlds in creating the effect that they're creating.
Well, it's absolutely true, and it's certainly well known all over India that Maharishi's Vedic pundits are the best trained. They receive a far more extensive training, extending to the very precise nuances of pronunciation. And they're all trained in a completely uniform way by the greatest pundits with the purest pronunciations from all over India. And they're trained, as you said, for years and years and years. And equally important, they're trained in the power of clear, deep transcending.